Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Hello, ladies. I guess I can start. Yinka, please could you? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you can start. I've started the recording.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. Good evening once again, ladies. I hope you had a very good working. Your week has been very great. I mean. So I'm just going to start this session real quick. Unfortunately, I have an overlapping meeting for 5 o'clock again, so I'll just quickly rush through this. Oh yeah, I guess you were here last week. Lara, is this your first time here? I don't think I've seen you. I've seen your name here before. Hello.
Yes, ma, I was present last week.
Oh yeah, were you able to finish the
Yes, I just want to download the AD Connect. I was doing that before the meeting started, but
At least you did.
I've promoted my domain controller.
Okay, very well. All right, that's it. So last week, we had a not really an issue, like I said, that is not an issue, it's just probably maybe it's taking time. So I guess afterwards, just for us to be able to know the difference between the sync status of all of those users we have on premise that have been synced to the cloud, the difference where you have it as sync from on premise as the sync status, and those that are still in the cloud as this. So I had to make use of that domain name somewhere, somewhere else. That's why you have the on Microsoft. So I may just as well show you the domain that I use it for, because I had to quickly do some other. I had to be on 2 different tenants last week to do, I mean, during the week really, to do some um, webinars and all of that. So it's still the same. You can see that the name of the tenant is there, and then you can actually see the sync status to be, these are the items that have been synced from on-premise, and then those are the ones that are still in the cloud, So that's the cool thing. Those are some of the things I wanted to show you guys last week, and I guess with that, we're good. Okay, so moving on to this week, I expect you to do your assignment and to follow through. If you have any questions, I mean, you can actually reach me on the channel. Just mention me, and then I will be able to respond to you. So this is second to the last of our topic for this course, really, because we actually wanted to deal with the basic, and then probably from basic we look at intermediate and then more advanced. But for the basic, I have just 2 classes left, this one, and then hopefully a friend of mine will be taking you on SharePoint next week. Hopefully, if there is no change in plan. So I just want to do this introduction to Exchange Online. If you look at the curriculum, you'll find out that we have about 3 parts to the Exchange Online. It's actually the one for the basic class, the one for the intermediate, and also the one for the online. So we put all of those in the curriculum together. But for today, I'm just going to be dealing with the part 1, which is actually for the beginners class, actually. So then the agenda for today that we'll be looking at is that we'll be looking at Exchange Online, the different plans you have on it, and the description. We'll also be looking at the types of email accounts and group you can create, and then how we can manage our Exchange Online, and then we can experience the new Exchange Admin Center. The first thing, if this is your first time, the question you will ask is really, what is this Exchange Online that we're talking about? So it's actually part of the Microsoft 365 and Office 365 suite of products. is a cloud version of your on-premise Exchange server. If you are familiar with what the Exchange server on-premise is like, you would have known that this is the cloud version of it. Is an email server from Microsoft. What it allows you to do, so typically just look at from the beginning of this class, we started by looking at the components of the Microsoft 365. We identified that Exchange Online is part of that component. And if you remember what I said, today, if you're using Yahoo or Gmail, something allows you to be able to send mail back and forth. That's platform that allows you, or that component or service, whatever you name it, that allows you to send mail back and forth is actually a mail server, so to say, or an email server. But Microsoft specifically named its own an Exchange Online. So your other mail server or email server you have out there are things like your Yahoo, your Gmail, your G Suite, all of that. You have things that are on premise like your Lotus and Domino, your Mena Demo, all of those are Hmail. Those are examples of mail servers, and depending on your environment, what suits your need. But now, because our focus is on Microsoft 365, we're actually looking at the Exchange Online. So very well then. Another thing you want to know about Exchange Online is that users can access their email from anywhere, their shared calendar, contacts, and tasks, all in one particular place. You can actually manage all of those. And you can access it using a user desktop, through a web or a browser, or even your mobile device. As an administrator of a Microsoft 365 or Office 365 organization, you can manage your organization Exchange Online services in what is referred to as the Exchange Admin Center. All you need to do is for you to sign in into your Microsoft 365, Office 365 using either your work account or your school account, and then you go to the admin tiles area. When you get to the admin tile, you can actually choose Exchange, So one of the new things that is available now is that the Exchange Admin Center now has a new URL. So all you just need to remember is admin, because you are looking at the Exchange Admin Center.exchange.microsoft.com. So to put what I'm trying to say there in perspective, let's go once again to our so let me show again your regular Microsoft 365 portal where you administer it. So this is what your admin center is. Remember the last time we talked about it, you said you can actually see admin centers in the Microsoft 365 admin center. When you scroll down to the admin center tiles, really the admin tiles, you can actually see admin center for each component of the components in M365. First, for now, you have the exchanges. So you can actually come into this place and then go from here and open the Exchange Admin Center. So for me, I've already opened mine just to make it easier. And this is what it's going to look like, really. So this is what it's going to look like. I just want you to take a very I would like put it, very deep look at what you have right now, because later on we're going to look at the new admin center which we have. So just to digress a bit, this is how to get to the admin center that I made mention of. So let's move forward. Now, how does Exchange Online works really? So the thing you want to bear in mind is that it's managed and maintained by Microsoft. And the servers that support the solutions are actually stored in Microsoft Secure Data Center. That's one of the things you want to bear in mind. And then Microsoft, in trying to reinforce the reliability of this cloud-based solution, also offers a financially backed 99.9% application. So when you talk about Exchange Online, you think about emails, you think about calendary, you think about contacts, you think about your distribution group, you think about task, you think about your people, your contacts. That is what your Exchange Online is for. So it houses all of that. And then it is something that mostly all organization, especially enterprise organization, if that are serious about keeping their emails and all of that, we want to use. So that's one of the things you will know about it. It can come in as a standalone plan, or it can come through the Office 365 subscription also. So basically, what we've seen, if you look at your developers account, developers subscription you just signed in, Exchange Online is part of that. However, you can actually also do what, subscribe to it as a standalone. So let's see again. Let me see if I can just go again. And then if you want to subscribe to Exchange as a standalone, I'm just going to bring this again in here. And then let's look at it. So one of the things is that if you want to subscribe to it as a standalone, all you need to do is go to where you have billing. And then when you have billing, you can look at what purchase services. Now, when you look at purchase services, you can actually see Office 365 services, you can see them, and you can see also standalone services, So you can actually come into this place and explore, or probably maybe you just want to buy, just, when you put Exchange here, and then you can see what it will return to you. So you have different options for it that should return. Think a standalone. Okay, so let's say message Exchange Online plans. Let me be more specific. Let's see whether I can bring it out. Okay, to be under collaboration and communication tools. Let's be more specific. Under collaboration and communication tools, looking for 7 products showing. So let's see. I also hope it's not because I have M365 and then it already contains it. That is why. But then you're supposed to be able to see it here. Like business apps are Dynamics quite all right, but for collaboration and communication is actually a solution under it, except maybe this is requiring me to scroll to the right. So this is where you're supposed to see it. But all the same, if you do not see it, we can always go online and look at. So we can just do Exchange Online plans, so you can do compare. So you can compare the plans really, So these are in Microsoft side. These are, so you have it as standalone. So like I said, you have it as standalone. So you have it as standalone of plan 1 and plan 2. And then you also have it as a component in any of the Microsoft 365 or Office 365 products. So I'm just going to be pasting this into the chat window, and then you can actually get yourself familiar later on with the different types of Exchange Online plans that we have. So that says it all. And then I'm going to be looking at right now the different plans that we have. I'm going to be comparing the different Exchange Online plans. Now, we have, like I said, basically there are 2 plans. Depending also on the version of the M365 or Office 365, depending on the plan you buy, you can actually have the plan 1 or plan 2. So one thing first is what you want to bear in mind is that Exchange Online can come in 3 flavors. Actually, you have plan 1, plan 2. These are standalone. When I mean standalone, that is when you subscribe to, that is just, they are just exchange alone you are using as a component. There is nothing again on what they call it, on Microsoft Teams or Skype or or SharePoint. It doesn't contain it. It is just standalone. So when you hear the word standalone, that means that component is just that component for what it serves or for its purpose alone. You don't have anything like Microsoft Teams on it. You don't have anything like OneDrive for Business. You don't have SharePoint on it. So that is what the standalone plan. But when you have it as a part of a bundle, remember M365 or Office 365 is the suite of products. So your organization need could be, you can be working for an organization, or probably maybe you are also helping some people, and then maybe you want to buy, and then you do not need all of those components for OneDrive for Business and all of that. You just want email alone. In that case, then you can prefer to your customer any of these, maybe plan 1 or plan 2. Now the difference is that plan 1 includes business class email with 50 gig really. So the major difference is actually with the size, and then some of the resources that you have in terms of mailbox size, and then also in terms of the security features. Those are the other features that you find the difference between plan 1 and plan 2. Now, plan 1 includes secure and reliable business class email with a 50 gig, whereas for plan 2, you have in addition to what you have in plan 1, it also include unlimited storage, hosted voicemail, and then data loss prevention. So for a customer that is looking at this, if this is what they're looking for in their environment, then you can subscribe this for them. Now, another thing you want to be for plan 1, you can have 150 gig, quite all right. But then in terms of what is the size of mailbox it can actually send, the size of mail, sorry, can actually say is 150 MB in price, in size. I think so. I'm going to remove this. I think I'm having problems with my USB, and that is actually distracting me. So, all right. So the same thing is what you have for plan B. For plan 2, sorry, other than it's 100 gig in terms of size right now. For plan 1, users can connect supported version of Outlook. Every one of us knows that, like I said, if you want to connect to your Exchange Online, you can actually use Outlook, or you can connect through your browser or even your mobile device. So for plan 1, your users can connect supported version of Outlook. Preferably, do not use anything less than Outlook 2016. Do not use anything. So what works best for it is Outlook 2019, because right now, there are lots of features that are also in the applications you use in connecting to the Exchange Online that also enhance your user experience. So you wouldn't want to go lower than 2016 if you ask me. 2010 is not even supported at all. So if you have a user environment that are still using Outlook 2010 or Outlook 2013, then I'll tell you not to even bother. Yes, 2013 can still go in, but then I'll preferably, like I said, for a better experience, use 2016 and 2019. And then for plan 2 also, hosted unified messaging, you can do call out screen. So like we said, it has voicemail and dialing user interface. So you can also have automated attended capability. So with plan 2, you can actually integrate if you buy Exchange Online plan 2 with your Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams, apart from chatting, you have the calling features also in it. So integrating your plan 2 of Exchange Online with Microsoft Teams, you can even have automated attendant capability. That does not mean that this cannot work on its own, you know, in case probably you integrate this solution probably with any of your, if I use the word, any of your telephoning infrastructure. Your telephoning infrastructure, you know, is what allows you to call out. If you go to a typical environment right now, not even a typical environment, let me use the example of when you dial a line. Maybe you call my number now. You get like an automated attendant that says that, oh, the number you're calling is not available at this moment, or probably maybe, you know, normally. So that's what an attendant is an automated attendant can do. So with Exchange Online, you can actually have a dining user interface and a complete automated attendant capability with it, with the plan too. So again, you have what is called the focus inbox. I mean, I don't know how many of you, but I want to believe. So I'm just going to show you again what it looks like. You have what is called the focus inbox. So today, if you look at what I have a focus inbox and I have an online inbox. The same thing also I have in the web version, you know. So you can always look that up if you're using the right version of Outlook and even the web, you know, you can always get that from it. So like I say, your focus inbox actually keep everything that is very important to you, while your other inbox actually keeps those things that feels that okay, it's not something that you occasionally uses. So one of the things you want to bear in mind while you're using it is actually that one of the things you want to bear in mind while you're using it is that what it allows you to do is for you to be able to keep all of those things that are very important to you, and then all of those things that you occasionally access are kept in the other inbox. So with the focus inbox, you just can easily track important emails, like I said. Then for the plan 2, you can see that the plan 2 has more of the security features embedded in it. You can do what with it? You can effectively manage sensitive business data with the inbuilt data loss prevention policies. Now, for plan 1, you won't see that. For plan 2, that's when it only comes. And plan 2 most time comes with the M365 E5. So remember what I say. I said depending on the version of the Office 365 or the M365 you purchase also, it will determine which plan comes with it. Now, you can always find plan 1 in the E3 plan of your maybe M365 or Office 365. I mean, I say of your M365 business, you can always find the E plan there. But when you're looking at the plan 2, you occasionally find them mostly in the enterprise plan, that the M365 E plan or plan 2, or I mean E5 or Office 365 E5. That's where you're going to find it. So you can have DLP for regulatory standards, such as things like personally identifiable information, maybe like your SWIFT code, maybe like your bank your account number, you know. So you can actually use this DLP to do what? To create policy for such sensitive document like your payment card industry, all of those documents, like I said, SWIFT code. You can actually use it that when somebody is sending a mail that contains any of those, it should flag it. The only plan that can allow you to do that is plan 2, really. Now, plan 1 can also, you can do, users can compare calendars to schedule meetings. You can have a rich collaboration features such as shared calendar, groups, global address lists, external contact tasks. This is actually available in plan 2 also. Then for the 2 plans, you have Exchange Online Protection. So Exchange Online Protection is what allows you to have what is called an advanced anti-malware and anti-spam protection on all your mailbox, so that it can keep your mailbox also very safe from attacks or from the cyber crimes or any cyber attacks. Then you have in-place archiving. In-place archiving is actually is actually enabled on both plans, irrespective of the plans you have. What you need to bear in mind is that you have what is called unlimited archiving. However, your unlimited archiving is actually it also caps at, even when you say it is unlimited, it caps at 100 gig. Now you can actually now do what's notify Microsoft if you feel that that's um, maybe you have exceeded the space. So you can enable archiving for your mailbox so that any mail, maybe for a particular period, you you put what is called a retention tag on it. Retention tag will say, okay, I want this mail to be retained on the system for a particular period. So you can actually put a retention tag in it, and then once you put a retention tag and says, okay, this mail in my mailbox is so age, archive it into my archive mailbox. So actually your archive mailbox is different from what is referred to as your regular primary mailbox. So the primary mailbox is actually where this 50 gig as in plan 1 applies to, and then 100 gig as in plan 2 applies to. Now the archive mailbox is different from this. But then, depending on the plan also, there is actually, with Microsoft says is unlimited archiving. But then it also depends on the Microsoft 365 plans that you buy. So you purchase. So if there are some plans that you purchase, the archive mailbox is actually the same size as the primary mailbox. So those are the things you need to bear in mind when you are when you are buying your plans. So those are the questions you want to ask maybe your customers or anybody you're engaging with. What is their needs? Do they have an archiving needs? Yes. Okay, fine. What is the largest mailbox in your environment that you feel that, okay, or what is the growth rate? What do you project as your growth rate in the next 4 to 5 years? And then you can know the right plan. You can actually change between plans, so you can even start them small. But when a customer is telling you, okay, apart from these, I will be looking at maintaining my regulatory standards such that I can have a DLP, I can be able to prevent particular mails that are going out of my organization if they contain some sensitive details in them. I want to prevent it. So then you will know that you are giving such a customer plan too. If a customer comes to you and tell you that, okay, I want my Exchange platform to be able to integrate with my telephony infrastructure in such a way that even from Exchange I can receive voicemail. So let me see if I can show you an example of a voicemail that you can see from Exchange, Oh, sugar. So unfortunately, my USB is misbehaving. I'm trying to get my mouse out. All right, let's hope his edge is okay now. Okay, fine. All right. So, these are samples of voicemail. Let me see if I can do a quick search and then look for a voicemail for you. Now, when you're not at your desk, your telephoning system, when you're not on your desk, you can actually get voicemail from people, that they will send you a voicemail. So what happens is this: I'm not on my desk, and then if a colleague of mine is calling me, and then at the point where he's calling me, I'm not on my desk, all he needs to do is what? He sends a voicemail, and that voicemail comes into my mailbox. So that's some of the things you want to bear in mind and you want to have when you are trying to prefer the real size. Then if somebody comes to you and says the largest mailbox size in my environment is about 70 gig, then you know for such an environment you cannot give let me not say for that particular user in question, you cannot give him a plan 1. You'll be looking at a plan 2. Now bear in mind that you can have a mixture of this. You can mix and match this plan. When you look, that's why you have to do what is referred to as user profiling. what I mean by user profiling is that you do what is called like a scoping session. You ask questions about people. What is the size of the mailbox of this particular people in the department? When you identify the different size or their needs, then you can know which plan to give them. So like I said, you can do a mix and match. You can give them plan 1 or plan 2, or depending on other features they need, you will now know the right M365 or Office 365 plan that you can actually give them. So that's in a nutshell what I want to say there. So let's move forward right now. The types of email accounts and groups you can actually create. So we know Exchange Online is a communication and collaboration tool. And when I mean a communication tool, because what you're sending, you're trying to communicate with someone, you're sending an email, then you can actually use it also for collaboration, because you can have what is referred to as shared calendar. You can share, somebody can see your shared calendar, and then they can know what your itinerary is, and then they know, okay, when to book you for a particular meeting. You can even share with your PA. So your personal assistant can be someone that you share your calendar with, so he knows what your movement is like, and he knows when you'll be available for any form of meeting and the rest. So you're actually collaborating there, you know. So one of the cool things you want to do, you want to find out ahead of time, is that what are the types of email accounts and groups that I can create in Exchange Online. So I'll start with identifying the types of mailboxes or email accounts that we can create. So the first set of mailboxes you can create are actually 4 types. You have the user mailbox, which is the regular mailbox, or referred to as mailbox. You can call it mailbox or user mailbox. Maybe you can put a user in front of that mailbox, which is the very first one. So this mailbox is actually the normal user mailbox in Exchange Online. Currently, a user mailbox can be up to 50 gig in size, and then you can actually provide another free archive mailbox. So that is what you have. When do you use this kind of mailbox? When you want to create, when do you use it? So you use this kind of email account or mailbox, so to say, if you, to any user who wants to use what Outlook or Outlook on the web. Remember, like I said, you can do what you can access your email, whether using Outlook client, or you can use the Outlook on the web, which is normally referred to as, before now we used to call it OWA, but now it is Outlook on the web. So when you create a user mailbox, you actually create this user mailbox. The use case most times is when you want to use Outlook or Outlook on the web to receive or send what personal messages, or you receive a mailbox to access, probably maybe for a shared mailbox or public folders. We'll go into that, what that means really. Then the next type of mailboxes you can create is actually referred to as what? Shared mailbox. Now, what is the shared mailbox for? Shared mailbox can be accessed by multiple users. So I'll give an example where is the use case. Now, in your environment, you might have like a service account. And those service accounts are maybe accounts that you use in sending bulk emails out. Now you have a concern that because for every mailbox you buy, or for every mailbox you spin up on Exchange Online, you have to do what? You have to pay for it. Now, you just know that there is nobody really accessing this mailbox. The only thing really do you want to use this mailbox for is for you to what? To send out email. Now, shared mailbox has no cost to it, but user mailbox, you actually pay for it. So in all of this, ahead of time, so let me say something ahead of time, of all of these 4 types of mailbox, the one that has a cost to it is actually the first one, which is the user mailbox. Now, for shared mailbox, what you can do is this. You can create a shared mailbox for such emails that probably maybe you want people to receive, maybe when you're, let's say, complaints at winters.com.ng. So I create a mailbox called complaints. So what I want this mailbox to do is that if anybody that has any complaints about my services or about my products, I want them to send a mail into it, and then that mailbox receive that mail. But actually, there is nobody using that mail or sending out emails to it. So I can create what is called a shared mailbox. That will avoid me paying money. However, for you to be able to use a mailbox, it must be accessed by a normal user mailbox. So when I create a mailbox, for me to be able to access it, I must now attach a normal user mailbox to it. So what happens is this: if you have multiple people in your environment that can do what, that needs to see all of those mails that are being that complaints, let's say that complaint mailbox is receiving, what will now happen is that you can now tie that shared mailbox to all of those people's users mailbox. So they will be able to access it, and then they can reply as complaint. So let's assume now I, as an external person, send a mail to that shared mailbox and call it complaint. Now, if I have a user A that have the normal user mailbox, that user A can access that shared mailbox and reply again as that complaint@winters.com. So it's like he's going back, but now he's using the right of his own user mailbox to be able to reply that mail. So I hope you guys, so most organizations find this very, very easy to use. And then it's actually something you can recommend for your organization so that to save costs really. Now, like I said, shared mailbox, when is the use case? You can be used in teams, in team, department, or for project mailboxes to centrally store, respond to, or manage messages. What's the use case. Now for room mailbox, so you use room mailbox to book meeting or conference room in Outlook. Now, a typical organization will have different kinds of conference room or meeting rooms. Now, one of the cool things is that if you are such environments that you hold meetings or you hold meetings a lot, you want to create each of those meeting rooms as what is referred to as room mailboxes. So you can actually configure them even to process booking requests automatically. So let's assume I have 5 meeting rooms. I can do meeting room 1 up till I get to meeting room 5. So at the point where I am doing an invite, so let's see whether I can show us that real fast. Probably maybe if you want to book a meeting in with Outlook in Exchange. So let's say I want to book a meeting. So I come into, this is my calendar. So I come into, so let's say I want to book a new meeting. So you can see when I want to book my meeting, one of the things it does for me is that it asks me the location. Now, if I have a room location here, it's going to be searching for all the rooms that I've created. So these are the available rooms I have as location in my company. So I can decide that this is already booked. Now, if someone else wants to book this room, you will see that it is not available. So this helps you a lot when you're booking, when you're doing doing your meetings. And then if somebody sees, tries to book it, we show that, okay, this meeting, and then we see, what I want to show you is that which room, look at this particular place. Let me see if you can see what I'm showing you. Can you see this part that says what? Room finder. Now, with room finder, it will actually show you whether my room is available for you, whether that particular room that I pick, whether it's available. If it is not available, then it will tell you that it has been through the scheduling assistant. It's going to tell you that that room has already been booked, so it is not available. It will show you the time is available. So what actually you use a room mailbox for, like I said, is to do what? Is to book your meetings. So let me drag this back. Okay, so it's to book meetings or conference room through Outlook. And when do you use it? The use case is mostly, like I said, for conference or for meeting rooms, special team rooms, or for buildings. Either way, also, you can actually book, if you have a building also you can actually make it a room mailbox also. So that is the use case. Then the last one is referred to as equipment mailbox. Now, a lot of people don't even know this. Actually, you can actually create your car as an equipment, as a mailbox in Outlook, if only you know. Some people don't even know. Your projector, your equipment, probably even your speaker that you use, maybe the deck, the microphone, maybe you have an event. If you have a lot of those, you can actually book them. So you can actually create all of those as equipment mailboxes. So what happens is that you use these to book equipment that can be also configured automatically during your booking request. So the use case is actually when you have an equipment that you move between locations, for example, a projector. So if a projector is created, maybe let's say this projector is projector 005. I book it, I create it as an equipment mailbox. At the point where I want to select, I'm creating my booking request, I can actually attach it automatically or attach it manually. Also with the car, you can actually make your car also, or vehicles in your environment as well, an equipment mailbox, because there are things that also probably maybe your sales or marketing team wants to go for markets, for their sales, what they call it, outing, and then they need a car for it. So those cars can be in a pool, and then you can automatically book them as an equipment mailbox. So these are the four major types of mailbox. And remember, like I said, the one that has a cost to it is actually what your user mailbox. Every other one, you can actually create them free and then use them for their specific needs. Now, the other type I want to talk about is on groups. Now, there are four types of groups also you have to bear in mind. Now, and then we will talk about their use cases also. The very first one is referred to as what the distribution groups. And what you use this for is to do what? To distribute message to a set of user or contacts. Now, distribution groups are mostly common form of a globally available distribution list. And then you can actually use them for sending out one or more or one-to-many email messages. So what applies here is that it applies to membership lists that are elsewhere, such as probably maybe you can actually use it in a form of you create a group and then you want to send a mail to and you put people in that group. Now you want to send mail to almost everybody at once. So what you can do here is that you can create a mail-enabled distribution group. Specifically, like I said, it is used for one-to-many email message. That is what your distribution group. Now, this security group, on the other hand, is used to distribute messages and provide access to resources to a set of users. So when you use security group, it is used when you need to apply permissions to resources. So such as a shared mailbox or public folder. Remember the shared mailbox I put. So if I have, I said that shared mailbox can be assigned, can be accessed by user mailboxes. So I can create what is called like a security group and put all of those users mailboxes that can access that shared mailbox and put them in what is called in a security group. So when I'm now creating my shared mailbox, when I get to the point of saying that who are the people that can access it, I can just select that security group instead. So what security group is that can also be used as a distribution group, and it can be maybe outside Exchange Online, such as in SharePoint Online. You can actually use security group as a distribution group, but that would be outside Exchange Online. But so for somewhere in SharePoint Online, just bear that in mind. Then we have dynamic distribution groups. Now, dynamic distribution group is used to dynamically create a set of user base on an LDAP search. What this LDAP, when you hear the word LDAP, is actually talking about what an active directory. LDAP, the acronym stands for Lightweight Directory Application Protocol. So that is actually a protocol that you use to query user objects in Active Directory. So a bit of digression, if you want to understand what it is like, so let's assume your organization build what is called an application. Now, this application does not have in any way to integrate with with your Active Directory. Is not out of the box. It does not typically integrate with your Active Directory in such a way that it can pull your users immediately. But what you can do is that you can do what is called an LDAP query. So within the application, you can define some parameters that you will not do what is called an LDAP query. So sometimes people build what is called an API that can connect from that application to your Active Directory, and then it can query for those user objects, and you can have it import. So when you do what is called, that's why they said it is used for an LDAP search in Active Directory to distribute messages. So when is it commonly used? It's used to create a global complaint distribution list. So what it uses is that it uses what is called attributes, things like in the company address book, such as region, office, department, or roles. So the difference between it and the distribution group is that distribution group is globally available, quite all right, but then it is used for sending out one-to-many email, whereas for dynamic, it will always be using what is global complaint distribution list, which means is actually going to do what is called an LDAP search in your Active Directory. So LDAP search is actually the keyword there. And then when it does an LDAP search, it's actually looking for specific attributes in the complaint address. Company address book. When I mean the company address book, we normally refer it to also as what your global address list, which is referred to what keeps all of the users. So let me see if I can really show you that real quick when we say global address. So I'm going to bring this back again. I'm going to bring my Outlook. If you can see that. So let's say I go back to my email. So I'm going back to my mailbox, and then I want to send a new email. Now, when I want to send a new email, there is something that calls that. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but if you are not, please check it out. Even you will see what is referred to as address book. So this address book actually contains all of the mailboxes in your environment, all of the users you have in your environment, their phone numbers, their location, their email address, the department they belong to, all of that. This is what you will see. So that's the company address book. So when you're using the dynamic distribution group, what it actually does is that it is searching for those attributes, e.g. that can be the region, it can be the office, the department, or roles, and then that is what it's using to do what to send out emails. So that's one of the things you should get. Now, we talk about the Microsoft 365 groups. Majorly, this is more encouraged now that is what a lot of people are creating, really. Now, what the Microsoft 365 group does is that it provides team collaboration, such as document storage, a centralized calendar, a OneNote notebook, working collaborative on projects, plans, and teams email distribution, all in one place. When the use case is, it is excellent for teams or departments collaboration when other resources such as your OneNotes or OneDrives are needed. So today, typically, if you create a team in Microsoft Team, it will also create what is referred to as a Microsoft 365 group. Now, it provides It provides multiple Microsoft 365 service, so it can be used as a tool to aid adoption and drive business value. So what your Microsoft 365 group, like I showed you some time ago when I was going through Office 365, is that maybe the component of Office 365, if you still recall when I was going through it, I showed you the different kinds of groups that you can create, and then if you remember when we automated creation of groups also, creation of groups and users, I showed you also the type of groups, So if you come to active groups, you actually have it and you can see the type of group which they are. So majorly, most times people tend to create these days Microsoft 365 groups. I still have some groups here that are security group, and all of that, and even distribution group, but then Microsoft 365 group comes more often. And like I said, the very moment you create a team, so maybe you want to look at any of this name right now, it's CLL, HR team, or Dynamics com. So let me show you any of my teams. Let's see whether we can see any of the teams. I hope. So let's see if I can quickly show you a team in this tenant. So if you look at a team in that tenant, like I said, anytime you create a team in a tenant, really, the same team that you create, we create a Microsoft 365. So let's see if this can load on time. Oh, sorry. So you can see, now these are all the teams I created in my Microsoft team, and they created what is referred to also this created it what a corresponded what Microsoft 365 group. Now from within teams, if you look at the way they do, you can see that you have a central place for files where you can keep, you have a central place for so let's look at this. You have a central place for files, you have a central place for, and these files actually at the back end use what is referred to as what SharePoint. So you create the M365 group actually because you want to do what? You want to collaborate. You can actually add in OneNote into it. If you come into this place, you actually see option for OneNote and all of that. Those are kind of groups that you can create because you want to do what? Collaboration. So every email that is sent into this group, and you can always find it. Now where you find it most times in Outlook most time is here. So let me show you where you find this group in Outlook. If you're using your Outlook, you won't see it in the regular. Oh, sorry about that. So let's see. You won't see it in the regular inbox. So you have to come somewhere here, and then you will see what? Groups. I don't know whether you can see my screen very well. Now you will see groups, and then when you collapse all of the M365 groups that is ever created is what you will see here. You can actually see the M365 group. So they also keep information of all of the emails you've had before now. So those are some of the things you want to bear in mind. Okay, so great. Let's move forward now. Let's look at the other types of email accounts that we can create. So we have what is referred to as what? Mail accounts. So what mail accounts does is that it doesn't have the user accounts with it in Microsoft 365. So as such, you can't sign in with it. Now, I'll tell you what the use case is like. So every one of you that joined Techstyler today, you are created as what is referred to as what? A mail. So your mail account can be something that refers to as your Gmail, your Outlook, or AOL Live, or all of those kind of accounts that is outside the organization. But the cool thing about it is that I can now have you in my account directory or in my in the contacts directory. So if I want to send a mail to you, that will be available for almost everybody in the organization to know, oh, these are the people that we do business with. So the use case most time is to show external contacts in the global address list. You saw that address list that I showed you. If I create you as a mail contact in the organization, everybody can actually be able to access you and send a mail to that mail contact or add them to even a distribution list, preferably. So that's the use case of a mail contact. As you can see, nobody can sign to it because it's not a regular mailbox or an account on the network. Now you have mail user. The next one is mail user. So a mail user combines the attribute of a full mailbox user along with the characteristics of a mail contact. Now, what mail user does is that it provides sign-in facilities while forwarding their mail to their external email address. So you can sign into a mail user, but then the sign-in facility is actually to forward that mail to an external email address. So you can create a mail user on the network. Now you have the mail enabled public folder. This is actually came in sometime in when Exchange was in 2013. So what you have public folders quite all right, but it became mail enabled. You'll use this for what? These folders are Active Directory Universal Security Group objects that have assigned email address, which enables them to receive email messages. So public folder today is actually replaced with SharePoint. That was then, but now because of demand, Microsoft brought it back, but now made it mail-enabled public folder. So these folders can be used to assign access permissions to resources in Active Directory and also can be used to do or distribute messages. So you want to know what is applicable to your environment. Now, so let's talk about the new experience with the new Exchange Admin Center. So I'll be looking at this one after the other, and I want us to show this. So in trying to do this, let me walk you through what the old Exchange Admin Center is like. So like I said, for you to get to your admin center, the very first thing you want to do is just 1 minute, please. So I want us to look at the different features that we have, so in the new Exchange Admin Center. But before I go into that, I want to show you what the old one looks like. And that's what I'm trying to get ready here. Just permit me, give me some few minutes. I have a lot of windows that are opened, so let's see this. So remember how I told you that you can get to your admin center? I think I showed you that earlier. Now, this is what is referred to the classic Exchange Admin Center. You have what is referred to as what? The dashboard. This is classic. You have the dashboard where you see like your welcome page, you have your recipient permission. It talks about your compliance manager. It just shows you a nav, this nav bar. It shows you like this is everything under this. It just gives you like a summary or a view of it. Then you have recipients. Now under recipients, you have mailboxes. Remember, that's what we've been talking about since. You have groups, you have resources. Resources are actually your room, your equipment that you can create, you can see. Then you have your groups where you can define the type of groups you have. So you can decide the type of group you want to create. You can create a new M365 group, or you can create any kind of group. So if I create create a new group, it's going to ask you what is the group name, and then you can, this is the way for you to create it, whether you want to make it, that is an M365 group, really, that's what you have. Then you have your contacts, like we spoke about, the mail contacts. You have contacts here. These are mail user, quite all right. Then you have your shared mailboxes. If you have any shared mailbox, you can create, and then migration. Now you have permissions also you can set up here. This is what your regular, where you can create admin roles. These are predefined. You can actually create a custom one. You have users role also. Then you have Outlook web app policy. Then you have the compliance management. Now, the reason why I'm seeing this and I can do anything here is also because of the plan that I have. So like I said, you would want to know what and what you have for you to be able to do what, for you to be able to see all of these and be able to perform actions here. Now, for compliance management, you have in place e-discovery hold. This one allows you to be able to put an hold on a document even when it is deleted. You put an hold on it until probably maybe a particular period. Then you can do auditing. Then you remember the data loss and prevention we talked about. We talk about retention policies. Retention policies are policies that you can set, to protect content, probably even in SharePoint, OneDrive, or Exchange. But then retention tag at maybe a particular days or time you put on your policy. So with that retention tag, you can actually, create a retention policy. So retention tags are probably, maybe you say, okay, for one delete, okay, the type should be for personal mailbox, and then how long you want it, retention period to be 30 days, and then what is the retention action when it's 30 days, is that you want it to be deleted or you want it to be archived. So those are some of the things. Then journal rules are actually rules you use when you want to send a record of a mail, maybe to another mailbox or distribution group within the environment. So record journaling allows you to be able to keep a record of that mail, a copy of that mail or conversation, whether a mail is coming in or going out. So you keep a copy of that mail. So I want to send a mail to olajumoke@gmail.com from mywinters.com. A journal mail will allow me that as that mail is going out, a copy is kept somewhere, maybe it's directed to a mailbox, so that for auditing purpose, people can monitor how your mails are going out, maybe for specific compliance requirements or risk requirements. People can monitor how the mails are going out in your organization. So that's what happens. Then under this organization, you can actually do what you're sharing and your add-ins are. Then your protection, this is where you define things like for your Exchange Online, your malware filter, your connector filter, your spam filter, your outbound spam. You can configure policies for quarantine, and then for DKIM also, and all of that. So some of these things are actually on the ISA. That's why I don't want to go into it so much. Then you have advanced threat, where you have save attachment and save link. So we receive attachment in your mail today. If you actually signed up for it, you will receive attachment in your mails today, but the body of the mail is what is delivered. So save attachment does a settings for you that it creates like a shadow. It's not a shadow, a sandbox environment, and it scan every attachment that is in the mail to see if there is any malware or any suspicious element that is wrapped around that mail. So what it does, you can configure it in such a way that it delivers the body of the mail, and then when that scanning for those attachments is done, it now does what? It delivers it. So save link does the same thing also. For every URL that you find in your mail that comes to you, save link does what? Scans it. So today, if I go to my mailbox with save link enable and I click a link, you will find that it first come out with one error something. So if you copy that link from my mailbox and try to open it, or you send it, it will be useless to that person, because it is only when it enters into my browser that it takes up another process of scanning and then do the conversion. So one of the things you have to bear in mind. Then again, you have mail flow. Mail flow allows you to create what is called rules. how you want your mail. So I can say a mail going out from olajumoke@winters.com.ng mailbox. When it is going out, please forward a mail or append a signature or append something to it when that mail is going out. Then you can do a message trace where you can do what is you want to see a mail that somebody has received, a particular user has received, or a particular user has sent for a specific period in time. Then you can do URL trace, also the same thing, and then your accepted domain is actually the domains you define that you will use. Remember, like our winters.com, you will have your own default accepted domain that you will use. Accepted domains are saying that what are all those authoritative domains that should be able to send emails out in my environment, or any one of them. So domains could be authoritative, that is, they are the only one that are allowed to send emails, or they could also be internal, that is, they are allowed to forward, or if they can't send email, they can forward to another authoritative domain in your environment. Then you have what is referred to as also remote domains. This is by default. And then you have connectors. Connectors are actually what you use to define mail flow in your environment. So for an environment where you have an hybrid setup, so you can see for an hybrid setup, your organization is actually your on-premise email server. So, and then inbound will be from what to Office 365, or from Office 365. So you can see direction. So when you have an hybrid setup, which means that you set up an environment where your Exchange on-premise is in what is in hybrid with the Exchange Online. So for you to be able to do a gradual migration, this is actually an intermediate course. So I may not be able to tell you this. I can just maybe later run through what the different kinds of migration options you have, really. But then, because I don't want to give you so much information for a beginner would be that, okay, you want to know how to send emails, how to create mailboxes and all of that. That's what will be. But then if you have, like for me right now, this environment shows, when I have this connector, you can see what the direction is. This the direction is from what my Office 365, or to my from my organization to my Office 365. So this connector is actually picking mails from my organization to Office 365, and then from Office 365 to my organization. So when you're in an hybrid environment, this connector is necessary. But when you are not in an hybrid environment and everyone is on the cloud, is actually used by default the Exchange Online protection. So you have all of these settings. So just look at this. Just look at what the classic view of the Exchange Admin Center looks like. This is what it was. Now, few months ago, Microsoft released the new version of Exchange Admin Center. So the first thing with it is that you have what is referred to as a personalized dashboard, reports and insight. And how does that work? So the new EAC for short is what we call it, offers actionable insight and includes reports for mail flow, migration, and priority monitoring. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. Now, compared to what I showed you before, this is a new Exchange Admin Center. So this is what you have. So your home right now, when you go to the home, this is what your home shows. So you can actually add what is referred to as cards. So I can add cards to this home depending on my preference. So I can add cards for forwarding of message, if that is what I want. I can add cards for migration, I can add cards for migration, to it, and then I can arrange it in whichever way I want. So, just come into this place. And when you don't want all of these cards, actually, you can come in here and remove it. So this is what the new experience, the new Exchange Admin Center offers you right now. You can add what is referred to actionable insight cards, and then for you to be able to enable it. So let me go back to that. Let me show you how to enable it. It's actually very easy, because it tells you when you are on the old one. So let me show you again. On the old one, if yours is still showing the old one, it will give you and say what you have the word is simplified, improve, and distinct connector management. Try it now. Or even if you scroll down, you can say what you can select what the new Exchange Admin Center. So you can actually try that on your own. So let me move forward to that. Based on that. So the next thing about the new experience with the Exchange Admin Center is that what you have new navigation pane. So the new ESC includes a left navigation pane to make it easier. So let me show you that once again, what that looks like. Now you can see the new navigation pane here right now. You can see it. This is the left navigation panel to make it easier for you to find features. Now, if you collapse this recipient is where you will now find mailbox. Unlike before, we have recipient and mailbox were all over this place. Now it is more organized that you can find mailbox. If I click on mailbox, you can see the type of mailbox. So mailbox and share folder right now are in the same place. You can have your share folder, shared mailbox, sorry to say. You can have your shared mailbox here and then you can look at that. That's a cool feature that will also come into. You have groups, you have resources. Now Mailflow now has message trays, rules, all of them defined, Then you have roles, the roles like you have admins roles. Then you can have like your migration as a new batch migration. Then if you want to create reports, you can create the report. Now, let me go back to that home page I showed you earlier. Now, if I look at, I can actually get reports from here also. So no data to show right now, fine, because probably maybe this is like a test environment. It's not what I use on a regular basis. So you will not be able to see any report. But let's see if I can maybe I can see any report. Maybe I can actually do what? Schedule reports here, auto forward message, and then do what? If I click on it, I can actually create an activity for it and then do what? Specify that when what they call it, messages are forwarded or email are forwarded, I want to be able to monitor it and all of that. So if it is search that I've already set up, and then I come into my my home page where I can also add it as a card, I will be seeing the report from here. I can click on it to see more reports. Those are some of the cool things I wanted you to see. So let's go forward. Moving forward, one of the cool features again you have is the improved mailbox management. Now with the improved mailbox management, recipient management is in one place, like I said, and then now the task for what this allows you to do that admin now can do what can manage mailbox easily. So you have a new mailbox management. Now, if I want to create a mailbox right now here, I can actually add a shared mailbox. These are all the mailbox that I've created in my environment. And then I can add a shared mailbox. And then when I'm creating the shared mailbox, I can put in whatever domain name I want to put and all of that. So you can create. Another cool thing you want to see here is that I can select a mailbox. If I select this mailbox now, this priest, on the left hand, I can actually do a lot of things with it. I can manage the email address type. I can manage the permission on it. I can put mailbox policy on it and even check up on what the flow setting. I can say when this mailbox receive a mail, it should do what? Forward that email to another email address. I can put mailbox restriction on it. I can also do what? Put message restriction on it. I can tell it not to receive email. If I edit it, I will say, okay, accept mail from maybe specific people. Probably maybe that for this particular Chris Green, I don't want him to even receive mails from outside. I just want specific people to be the one he can accept mail from. So when someone or another group or any external contact send a mail to him, he will not be able to receive it. I can also allow him to block messages from selected senders also. So those are some of the things you can do with the component of the mailbox migration, the new component. Now let's look again, let's move forward. Now, another thing you have is that the improved support for groups. Now, let's look at what the improved support for groups will do. With the new EAC, you can create and manage 4 types of group easily. You understand? So let's look at that again. Now, if you look at, let me close this real fast. Now, let's look at the groups under the same recipient. Now, if you look at where we're coming from, right? Now, if I collapse this, if I look from which now I have the M365 group. So look at where we're coming from. Let's just look at it. Let me bring it. Let's look at the difference. Now, if I wanted to create a group before, I'll come to what recipient. And then when I select a group, sometimes it could be very, how will I put it? It will be very, confusing on how to create groups. You'll find it hard because yeah, you can only until you know that you can come into this place and select distribution or may enable. The first thing that will attract you is that you want to create new mailbox, so you will not be looking at, oh, where do I get the distribution groups from? And those are some of the things with the feedback that Microsoft received that they corrected. So looking at the new EAC right now, see, you have it all. So if I'm under M365, it shows me all of the groups that I've created under M365. If I'm under distribution group, it shows me any of the groups I've created. And when I say add group, I actually knows that I'm adding a group on. I can add the group, either select it on distribution and all of that. So it makes it easier for me right now because of the new view to see which group is may enable or dynamic distribution group. So that's one of the cool features that we have right now with the EAC. Another cool feature which may be of interest to you will be migration capability. Now, with the new EAC, it supports various kinds of migration now. Now, one of the cool things, this is the best, I would say this is the best features or experience that I have with Exchange Admin Center. Is actually in preview, but I cannot wait for it to come. So I have gotten some requests, a lot of requests. Even right now, I still have some of the such requests where people will want to migrate from what? From tenants, from one Office 365 tenant to another Office 365 tenant. Now, this has been a lot of orders for a lot of organizations to do, because what you have most time is that, yes, it is very simple, it is very easy if you know how to set up your hybrid environment very well to do what, to migrate from your on-premise Exchange server to Exchange Online. But then let's assume in an acquisition or a merging environment where people acquire another, where a particular company acquire another company, and that's the two of them are on Office 365. Definitely when you do an acquisition and merging, you want to carry all of the components of the existing company you acquire, you want to merge it with your own. So it becomes a lot of situation where it's a lot of concern, the simplicity. So what happens is that you have to use a third party, and those third party tools are quite very expensive, because you can have the ones that will migrate for mailbox separately. You have the ones that will migrate also for Teams separately, for even your OneDrive, and you have SharePoint. So they have it, in silos like that. But cool thing is that the new AC now, as you supports various kinds of migration, including cross-tenant migration for an automated Google Workspace G Suite migration. So if you are migrating also from G Suite or from Google, this is another cool thing that I love. So to show you how to go about that, let's see. So all I need to come here is to come here again to my word, to the migration. And then when I select, let me see, when I select my migration and I click on batch migration, so I can now add a new migration task. Now, the new migration task, I can select the mailbox migration part. So you can see I can migrate to Exchange Online. Probably maybe if I'm migrating maybe from my on-premise, I can migrate. Oh, sorry. this will not. Okay, so this will not show it. Let me show you, because I have an hybrid environment. So this, an hybrid environment will be more suitable. Hold on. Now, and remember that when you want to do migration, one of the cool things you must bear in mind is that when you want to do migration, so let me run this. Let me make it a new admin center. Okay. One of the cool things you want to bear in mind is that when you're doing migration, your AD Connect is actually very, very, very important, because your AD Connect is actually going to help you. Now, for this kind of environment, I have an hybrid environment here. So let me see what it's going to give you, and let's see the options, because it's actually in preview. Okay, I think it's still the same thing, because that option is in preview. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to stop my slide and then play the, let's stop my slide actually. Let me see if I can put sound in my shared already. Let me see if I can include the sound into it. Just 1 minute, so I can show you and play how that works really. So I'm just going to be speaking while it's playing, so that it can be easy for you guys to understand what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to be speaking. The new EAC offers. So what you find right now is that you can see the migration, and then you can see the different migration options you have. So you can see migration that gives you the one for migration to Exchange on that, and then you can ask. So you can see tenant to tenant migration, state migration. So it's yeah. So with G Suite, you can actually select those migration, and you can just select your. So with that, as you can see, okay, so that's enough. So with that's one of the cool things that you have with the new migration, with the new EAC. So you have that new migration capabilities. Now you have a cross tenant to tenant migration, which it just showed you. Now, the last thing on it is the Azure Cloud Shell support. Now, I know I showed you guys how to use PowerShell, because that's the way to go. Like I still maintain, that's the way to go if you're learning. Then now you can actually include that with what with the migration. Well, I mean, sorry, you can actually include that with managing your Office 365 environment, Exchange Online environment to be precise. So now I have a Cloud Shell. Now I can come in here. You can see that. So let it load. You can see now that your Cloud Shell from within. So instead of you switching from the web and then you come to your system and all of that, so I can from here just do what? Start running my command immediately, you know. So it will ask me to add my subscription and all of that. And then once I add my subscription and then I add it, I can have I can go on with it, you know. So I can have my Cloud Shell here work against my my Exchange admin center. So as against for me, I have a web interface open for EAC to manage, and then I come into my system, open PowerShell, and then I will not be connecting one after the other. You know, now you can do all of that from this place. So what I want us to do is this with this. I've actually said this time around, I'm not going to do a lot of saying maybe I want to create things for you. So I want you guys to go and do me a favor. Now, the favor I want you to do for me, so I'll show you in a way how you can create it using, how you can create all of these. Okay, so I can show you in a bit. Just 1 minute, please. So what I intend to do is that instead of you guys, I want to show, I want to test your capability on the PowerShell. I know I've showed you how to create users accounts in Office 365, but this time around, what I want you guys to do is this: go create accounts. Go create mailboxes in Office 365. But I'm going to show you the GUI way. That's I will. But then I expect you. So today, if I want to create a mailbox in Office 365, one of the things that is important you want to bear in mind is that that mailbox must have what? Must have license assigned to it. If you create a mailbox without a license, then you might not be able to. Now, so I'm in the admin center right now, in the Exchange admin center. When I come to mailbox, I can actually create my mailbox and then, you know, from Office 365 add. Now, I just want to show you how to create a shared mailbox. So a shared mailbox can be, let's say I want to say test shared mailbox, and then I want to give it a name, maybe the email address. I want to give it a what says shared MBX. That's what I want to call it, you know. Because I'm extending my screen, so the other screen is quite tiny for me, but I want to believe I should be able to see. Then I select my domain. So let's assume that this is what I'm selecting. So I want it to be the same. I want the alias to be the same. So in your own case, definitely it will be what? It will be the name of the domain. I want to believe. So in your own case, it will be the name of the domain. So when I create this shared mailbox, now what can happen to this shared mailbox is that at the point when I finish creating, I can now add users to the mailbox. Now, do you see the users is asking me? It gives me the next step. And then the next step will be when I say add users, I'll be selecting users here. Any of the users that have what? You know, any of the users that have maybe I want to say add users. So any of the users that have a mailbox on their own, I can do what? I can add them to it that has user mailbox. So actually on another screen, and because of latency. So now if I go into, these are all the mailboxes that I have. Then if I want to search, this actually asks me to search, you know, for the mailboxes or maybe any of the account that I have, you know, and then I can save my users. So that's all you can do for shared mailbox. So to create groups also, you can actually do what? Create your groups also here. Like I said, create a group, give it a name. I'm selecting M365, give it a name, and then you can put owners. Let's say this is it says GRP. You can create group for your environment, for your different departments, and give it a name. And then let's say the description for this and who are the owners. You can actually assign owners to it. You know, the very first person, you can assign yourself as the owner, or you can assign this. When you assign an owner to a group, then that person is the one that can make any changes in that group. So I can say maybe the owner in this case, I want to assign Claudia. Claude, sorry. So I can do this, and then I can click on next. So owners is different from members. Members are just people that you add to it. They are not going to be the one to be able to administer it. So I can put Chris and then maybe Elizabeth as members. You can see you can be the owner and not necessarily member of that group. What that says is that you are just doing administrative tasks on that group, and you are not the one that's, and maybe if they send any email to that group, you will actually not receive it. So that's the difference. And then the other settings you could put in place is that you can give it a group email, and then you can select, see, because it's an M365 is used for what? For a team. You can actually select whether the team is what is public or private. You get. So from here you can, and then you will see the option to say add Microsoft Teams to your group. Once you click this to say add Microsoft Teams to your group, it becomes a group that will be available also within Microsoft Teams. So that is what it is all about. So I've shown you that. So what I want us to do next week, I'll make that available quite all right in the curriculum part. I'll make some commands available, and then I want to test your knowledge on M365, on PowerShell. Should I even leave the command, or on a second thought, I want you to go and search for it. So definitely before we start new classes, don't give it to me and tell me I created my own ahead of time. Next week, I'm going to connect to each of you. So let me see who is logged in right now, who is still on this. You're going to share your screen with me, and please don't give me any excuse next week to tell me you're just trying to set it up. So you're going to give me, I have Alima, I have Onyeye. Okay, so Lara has I've gone. Okay, Alima, you said you have not been able to access that. That's strange. And that's always published most times to the recordings of the previous session. So no problem. What will happen is in the YouTube channel, and the link is sent every week, so you can actually go there and then check it out. But there are some of it that is also available for you here, but I'm not sure whether it is still there because I have files here. What I made is that videos. So I have the videos for day 1 and day 2, but day 3, day 4, and the rest has actually been uploaded to the YouTube. So except maybe I ask Foyi again, maybe we can upload, because I have it here. I have for day 1, day 2. If you look at it on the files, I have for day 1 and day 2. But the one for the 3 and the rest, I think we've had about 4 or 5 sessions now. The other ones are uploaded to the YouTube. So I'll get that from Foyi actually, and then share with you. So what I want you to do for me next week is for you to be able to do what? To come back. For you to be able to come back and then show me what you have done using PowerShell. I want you to go and do the research yourself. So use PowerShell to create mailbox in Exchange Online. So I want you to come back with, even if you're not creating it, come and tell me your interpretation of those commands, what it stands for, if you know the PowerShell. So what I want you to do really is to supply the commands that you will use in creating mailboxes. in Exchange Online. Do you get? So that's what I want you to do. So if you have any question for what we've talked about so far, now is the time. I'm ready to take any of your question. So
Hello, Ma.
yes,
I have a question.
yes, go ahead, please.
The mailbox you want us to create, is it just a user mailbox or
No, you create both user mailbox and shared
and shared
mailbox.
mailbox with PowerShell?
Yes, with PowerShell, you create both shared mailbox, user mailbox, and then groups. Those are the three things I'm giving you as assignment. So you create a user mailbox with PowerShell, you create a shared mailbox with PowerShell, and see how you will, and you will show me how you add user mailbox to those shared mailbox. Then you will create a distribution and a security. Those two alone is what I want, because now you've seen the way I've created M365, but I want you to create a distribution and security group and assign 3 or 4 members to them. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question on I'm still struggling to understand the difference between the room mailbox and the equipment mailbox.
Okay, that's fine. So room main boss. Let's let's get it this way. You have different rooms. You have different rooms in your organization, meeting rooms. That's the word I will use. Different meeting rooms. If you are such in your organization where people goes, you have definitely there will be conference room. Apart from conference room, maybe you have another meeting room. Now, let's forget, for each meeting room you have, really, any room or any conference room, you have things like projector. You have things like, what do you call it? You have projectors, or you will have things like even speakers, if there are some. Maybe all of those speaker deck, like those people that have it, maybe the microphone and all of that. So those are two things. Now, a meeting room, which is like a conference where you want to hold, you can create all of those meeting rooms separately and create them and say, okay, this is for the meeting room. So anybody that wants to book a meeting room, they can select any of those conference or meeting rooms to book it. And anybody that wants to come and book it ahead of time will not be able. So let's assume your projector is also a wireless projector, which means from any part of the building, anybody can connect to it. There are situations where you can have a projector in the same meeting room that you are using, but another meeting room can actually connect to that same projector. I don't know whether you know of such kind of projectors you can actually use in two different, you can use that they are wireless, you can connect to them from anywhere. Now, what can happen? Even in my office right now that I'm projecting to you, I have an LG TV here. That's what I use as my projector. And then there's an LG TV again that is in my colleague's office. I can be in my office, and all I want to do is that I connect to that office and I project to her, and then we're doing meeting. I put on my phone and then I'm talking to her what I'm saying, and then she will be seeing my screen from us. She doesn't need to leave. Now, in that situation, those are things like your projector, your TV, your equipment, you are called equipment mailbox. So you will create a room for them also. So you will create an account, so to an email account for them, which is like a equipment mailbox you create for them. So at the point where you are booking, they can also automatically be attached to a meeting room. Do you get, to a room mailbox, so they can automatically be attached to that meeting and then you use. So in a nutshell, let me see if I can show you again. If I want to create a new meeting, and then with my new meeting I can now say, so if I come in here and I'm creating a new meeting, I want to show you. So you can see room finder. This will look for all the meeting rooms in my organization and show me the availability in case. So if I select this, this location, and I want to, what this thing is actually listing is what? A meeting room. Now, if I select this meeting room, it will tell me that this meeting room is available, and I can select for which day I want to use it. You see, I say it is required. My location, this is what is right. This meeting room is, sorry. So let me first go here. Let me see, Olajumoke. I want to send a mail to, I want this person. And let me say, I want to create a test meeting. Now, if I put this option as anybody that, when I put my location and I said my location is this, you find out that he added it quite all right. Now, if I select this one, it will show me what is availability. If I select Olajumoke, he's an external person, so you may not see. But let's say I select somebody within my organization, it can actually show me his availability when he is ready. This is Saturday, so let's see, maybe my meeting, I'm doing it for Monday. Okay. Now, if I select this particular person, it can actually show me that the suggested time that this person, it can show me my suggested time even when I'm doing my meeting, or his availability, probably maybe equalize. If this particular room also is not available, it will tell me that it's not available, and then it can give me the suggested time it will be available. The same thing with your equipment. So if I create an equipment, I can actually search for equipment. Equipment will be somewhere here also, and then I select it. So my equipment can be even for cars. So like I said, it can be your projector. That is, this projector is booked. So if you are a highly how will I put it? They say is it projectized environment, or an environment that you people do meeting frequently, you can actually create those equipments like your projector, your TV, even cars as an equipment. So let's say, I use an example earlier. So let's say your sales team wants to go out, and then maybe it's an external thing, or they create a meeting, a meeting that they want to go out, and then they will be out, so they can actually book just that equipment, which is the car. So you can use your mailbox to know your exchange owner, to even know the availability of the pools of car you have available. So this, which one is already booked to go out for a meeting, from one location. You can even book a building. So let's assume a building, you use like a facility manager, you use this building most time for something, you can actually book it as so in other words, is an equipment. So things that you can move from location to another are considered equipment. Objects you can move about, you create equipment mailbox for them. But for room mailboxes are things that stay in one location. I don't know whether it's clear to you now.
Yes, it is. But
Okay.
for example, a company has a distribution group,
Yeah.
and they send out a mail. For example, let's say they're sending out a mail, "Happy Holidays."
Is it, sorry to cut you, is this another question? We're still talking about the first one.
No, this is another question.
Okay, great. All right, go ahead.
Okay, the company has a distribution group.
Yeah.
And they send out a mail via the distribution group, maybe "Happy Holiday." Will it send mails to both the users, both the room mailbox and the equipment mailboxes?
Okay, a company has a distribution group, and then it's sending a mail. So equipment mailbox, you can't sign in into them. Except I didn't get your question.
No, you got my question. So because I thought that I was thinking that one can sign into the room mailboxes or equipment mailboxes.
No, for room mailboxes, you can't sign into them. Like we said, you won't be able to sign into it, but you can actually. So what happened is this. So let me help you here. I think I understand from which angle. If you can see my screen. So let's say I want to create. My mouse is misbehaving again. So let's say I want to create a resource now. When I say add resource, Now my resource can be what? Resource email. So you can sign up to it. So let's say I want to create a test. So let me say this one is what? Projector 01 is the name. So this resource is, then I want to say, okay, this is room, sorry. Let's close. Do you see? You'll find that do you see? So I say room meeting 01. Do you get? So this would also be room meeting. So let me just make it, because you can't have space. Room meeting 01. Now, if you look at it, it's telling me that what's the capacity? That's the number of people that room can take. Where this is very applicable for you is that you are using it, you're using it ahead of time to show how many people. So anybody that goes into this can actually know how many people this room can take. So if I say, okay, the capacity is 50 and the location, probably maybe the location is in first floor, maybe I just want to put it there, and then the phone number that is attached to this room, probably maybe there is a phone number there. So I can put this phone number to be +2341 or maybe 0145673333. That's the phone number. Now I go next. Now the department is just maybe, it's not really, it's just for you because you want to put. Now address book policy, you want to put city, all of this is not. Now I want us to go to the booking option. That's the part that is important to me. So assign settings, allow what? Repeating meetings, allow scheduling only during work hour, auto accept meeting auto accept meeting requests, so you can automatically, they automatically also decline. Now maximum duration, so if the organizer needs a reply, send email, send below. Now if I review all of these, I can create, but what you can do here is that once you create it, so let me see if I create this mail burst and this mail room, sorry. I hope I will. Now one of the things you can do is this, there are some parameters you can use that if I click on this meeting room, I can actually do what? Edit the address. I can do a form of email forwarding. There is okay, this is what resource delegates. So if I delegate this, I can delegate that once this meeting room is selected, maybe the people in my kitchen, this room will send a mail automatically to their mailbox that it has been booked. So if then it knows the capacity of the people, they know that room already has a capacity of 50 users, right? So people in my kitchen know that they have to make provision for water for 50 people. They have to make maybe provision for lunch for 50 people. These are the kind of things you can use. So if I delegate this thing, maybe someone in the kitchen room or is a group, maybe I delegate it to someone like Chris. Maybe Chris is the owner is the person in the meeting room, or it can be a group. And then I can select that it can have full access, and then it can do, So once this person does, it can send any mail, it can reply back to me that booked that room and say that, okay, maybe to make more findings about, okay, you are booking this room, that is as if that room meeting is the one now talking or sending email, you've booked me, what other things do you need me to have in place, and all of that, so you can have it, so you put that in place. Now the automatic processing means that once it allows you can do repeated meetings with it. You can also make it decline meeting outside this limit, maybe the booking windows for 180 days if you want to. Then you can allow it to also accept meeting requests also, which means it does not. Then if the organizer, that is the person, needs to reply, you can enter a message below, if you want the organizer, maybe the organizer maybe I says that if you book this meeting, as I book this meeting now, that delegates I selected, it will now go out as a mail and says that what are the things you need to be in place in this meeting. So you see with this place that I said, if the organizer needs a reply, enter message below. Do you understand? So those are some of the things you do with room meeting. So for room meeting, I have created it, I've explained it. So now let's look at what your resource, your equipment, they all fall under resource. Let's now look at what equipment will give us. So equipment also would be the same thing. It's almost the same this is, so let's say this equipment one is projector now. So whether I put it or not, whether I put the capacity, it doesn't matter. Maybe I want to put that, it doesn't matter, it's not really this thing. If I want to put it that, okay, the capacity of the room I want to use the projector for is like maybe a 50, the location also I can put, you just tie it to anything and then I can, okay, sorry, so let's domain. What is important there that I'm missing? Okay. So my mouse is not all of these. Okay. Okay, so let me see if it's the phone number I should put, and then it's something that is blocking it, that is not allowing my mouse to respond. I'm actually wondering, and it's not showing any error. So, except it's saying projector already exists. Did I create it that time? Okay, my capacity is my capacity. So I'm actually wondering why this is not responding. Ordinarily it should respond. So even if I do not have a capacity I want to use, it should go on. Because the most important thing is for me to just specify a name for it. So it's an equipment. It even looks like it has been created because everything has been. Let me see. I hope it's not me. It's not my internet that is misbehaving again. Because this says. So I don't really know why this is giving an error, really, to be honest. I don't know. But to create a resource mailbox is actually equipment mailbox is actually very, you can see that it has fewer, let's see, projector 01, and then I put it here. Okay, so I want to go back to my capacity. Let's see, my capacity of the room is 80. The people in the room. Then my location, the capacity, the location is Yaba. And then actually I'm not supposed to, yes, that's the only thing that's supposed to give me error if I didn't select. I guess it's my, okay, which also give me the same thing. Maybe I want to set a booking policy. If you have a booking policy, but I don't have a policy yet, you might just want to fill all of those. And then you get the same thing also, just like, so in creating them, both of them are the same thing. But now in selecting them for what they call it, for mails is what will now be the difference really here. When you're not creating your mailbox, maybe, so let me see here. If I can see Outlook. So just want to show us. So we've created that. So let's say I want to create a new I'll come to my calendar. This is my Outlook here. So I come to my calendar and then I want to create a new meeting. Let's see what will happen. So this is my calendar, and then I come to maybe create a new event, whichever one. So let's now say, so I search for a room or location. So I search for a room. Maybe I want to search for a room. Let's say the room, let's say is okay. Another thing we said, it shouldn't be available in that's another mistake I think I made. Meeting, I said it should not be available in meeting room. So let's see if I can do a search. That's another mistake, because at the point of me creating it, I think the mistake I made was that I said it should not be available. I mean, we might not be able to search it. Okay, just hold on. Let's see. Admin, there's Microsoft. Okay. Admin, there's Microsoft. That's the exchange. So let's see again. Let's so. You know, I said when I was creating it, I said hide from hide from. So let me enable it not to hide from. So you see, hide from address. So it's no. Yes. So I'm supposed to be able to see it. It's also no. So let's go back. Maybe it has not just. So I'm supposed to be able to see it. Is it meeting room? Am I getting it? Or is it room meeting? So let's see what my project.
Room meeting 01.
Okay. Because my projector is actually where I'm sitting at my room meeting. One. So we use this meet. So it's discoverable. Not.
Sorry, the one you created, the room has only 10.
It's it's supposed to even load for me. So except it's only taking time. That's the problem. So let me see. This is okay. This is okay. So let me invite. Let's say Chris is who I want to invite still. And then it shows, you can see immediately it's showing me still Chris availability. And then for Monday is available. So let's see, it's Monday I want to. And then I want to select browse with room finder. So let's see. So let me see if I can see the meeting room here. This even is more. This one even shows display, video, if that's what I want. That's great. Okay, so let me see. Room meeting. If you see it, let me know, because it's actually very tiny for me. Room meeting. Go on. So I can't find it. That's the location. Search for rooms. So, but if it was what about projector? Hold on. Except it has not fully synced. Maybe it's my internet. I'm actually looking for the option of, even if I can't see it, it should be able to. It should be able to. You should be able to check for me. To check the name. So it's not there. So actually, this is where you're going to keep select it. Maybe it's just not. It's not available yet for me. That's why. Suggested features. I'm supposed to select this. So except maybe this thing is supposed to allow me to select, and then capacities, select a building. Okay. Say room, yeah. I don't need. So you can see the option for you to select the building. Maybe that's the reason I did not select the building. I did not. This will help me, and then put my capacity. But all of this is great. That I think there are some commands I'm supposed to run, but I don't want to make it a Teams meeting. I just want it to be a meeting of its own. So I guess there are some commands I must run to allow this to show, because I'm looking for the meeting room, and then it's not supposed to be here. Meeting. The projector will be here. So I think it's just a matter of time, because I just created them. So it's not, I think it's just a matter of time. That's what I'm fixing right now. You know, so let me see if I want to create a new account and see whether I will select, I can see them. A new email entirely. New message. And then project. Let me see if I select projector. So I can, so it's just a matter of time. I think it's just a matter of time. So if I come to the 2 year, you see all rooms. Let's see whether they are here. So it's here. So that's just it's just a matter of time. And it's here, but then it's not is when I click on it. So it has not refreshed. When I click on it and I want to create it, if it's there, I can select it. Then it's supposed to be able to allow me to, but there you see it's not selecting, it's saying there is nothing like that. So it's just a matter of time. And the same thing if I do meeting. So that's why I don't have to pick it. But essentially, you saw the one I showed you from my own complaint zone. From my own complaint zone, you can actually select the meeting. So this room actually, if I click on it, you actually know how many capacity it can take if I go into the room. I mean, if I look at the settings, maybe from OWA, I can know how many capacity and I can know its availability. And then once it is booked, it will accept the message, may accept the meeting, but it will tell me that it is booked. The same thing with the projector also, or the car in question that you have labeled. you know, the car that you have labeled, maybe you gave it, maybe you have pools of car. Maybe the pools of your car, maybe you have for certain number of cars, you know, that you attach for sales team. Immediately you select those cars, then you use it to book a meeting, that you are using it, you are going out with it. Nobody else will be able to use or to book that car. That's the whole essence. So that's the difference between the equipment. They don't receive mail, quite all right. But the person you delegate it with to will be the person that he will receive the notification in his mailbox, and then he can interact with the person the more. So that's what. So I don't know if that answers your question. Oh yeah.
Yes, ma. It answered my question.
Okay then. So I would expect you people before my colleague starts a session on next week. I would expect to quickly spend like 10 to 15 minutes with you guys and see what you can create so far. So if you have problems using PowerShell, don't give up. To be honest, don't give up. You can reach out to me and then I can look at the command where it is failing with you. Don't give up. Rather, build the habit of using the PowerShell really to do a lot of your work. Don't give up with it. Don't try to say, okay, no, you don't want to use PowerShell. You rather you go the easy way. It's actually better for you to learn how to use PowerShell on time because you might not know the environment you will be in, and then you will need that. So with that, oh my goodness, I saw the notification for the other meeting coming in. I saw when it was coming in that I'm going to miss it again. So you guys have made me miss my meeting again, but I guess it was worth it, Sha. And I hope what you're able to learn today has been useful. So guys, I think from my end, I'm done. If you do not have any other question, then I want to call it a day and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much.
All right then. Bye everyone.
Bye.